In today's video, we're gonna learn how to make an Excel form accessible. Welcome to the Accessibility Guide channel. My name is Sean Jordison, and let's jump into the ring. All right, I have my sample Excel sheet pulled up, and I've already applied some basic accessibility features to this Excel sheet. If you wanna see what I did, you can check it out in another video or by checking out my Accessibility Guide community that has a class on accessible Excel sheets and a whole bunch of other information. So how we're gonna make this Excel sheet accessible is by doing a variety of things. So first and foremost, we want to describe what we want the user to do in cell A1. Next, we wanna make sure we are using descriptive fields. An example of this will be enter name, enter date, how many pages are you requesting, and what additional services are you requesting. I'm also putting in an end of worksheet at the very end of our document. I'm also going to set my font really quick, just change it over to Calibre. And we are starting to build out our form. I'm also gonna set the print area of our document. So I'm going to choose all the cells that are currently active, and let's go up to page layout. Then we're gonna set print area and then choose set print area. Next, we're gonna hide all of the rest of the sheet. And I'm going to select an actual row instead of just the cell. And let's try Shift Control down arrow again. Let's right click it, and now we can actually hide the rows. We're going to do the same thing for our cells, our column C and beyond. Let's do our Shift Command right arrow, right click and choose hide. So this now makes it to where our Excel sheet is just the information we want to have it. Now, what I also like to do is actually add a little bit of visual emphasis for the form fields that I'm expecting my user to fill out. So I'm going to put a light fill on these cells that I want the user to fill out. So I'm going to just simply choose like a super light blue, and I'm also going to apply some borders to just those cells that I want the user to fill out. Next, we're gonna provide some data validation to the cell form areas that we want the user to fill out. So to do that, I'm first going to select the cell that I want to add this to. We're going to select the data button, and then under data validation, we can select our input message. And we're going to ignore the title, and then this is where we are going to enter. Please enter your first and last name and select OK. Now, when I have that cell selected, it's going to pull up that data validation, or the tooltip, if you will, for that cell. And we're gonna go ahead and do that for the rest of the cells. So let's enter it for our date. Let's select the field where we're gonna enter that. We're on the data tab, and let's do data validation. And again, we can do our input message. Please enter the date, and then we can put the actual date parameters that we want. So we could do month, day, year parameter, and then we'll also put like 01 2025 as the example. And I'm going to put in the slashes in there because that's how the date is going to appear. Then we're gonna select the settings button, and we can choose to have it fit, but we're gonna choose the date validation criteria. We want to ignore blank, and we can choose either a start date or an end date if we want. Now that's what the option's set to between. We could also just put not between, or we can just leave it blank. And in this example, we can put in our start date to be 01/01/2024. And then let's do our end date to be 01/01/2026. So we can't put in a date outside of that date range. Then we select OK. Let's go ahead and right click the date formula, the date field, and let's select format cells. And this is where we're gonna choose a date field specifically. And we can choose this option that has the day, month, year option, or we can choose the very top one because that will update based on the user settings. Then we can select OK. And our data validation is also displaying what the user is expected to enter. How many pages are you requesting? Let's right click it, select format cells. We're going to make sure this is a number. I don't want any decimal places, and we will select OK. And then we're going to select the data tab. We are going to choose data validation, and the input message will be enter the amount of pages you are requesting. Then select OK. Now from here, what additional services? Let's right click it, select format cells, and we're gonna leave it on, I think we're going to just leave it as text and select OK. Then let's do data consolidation, and put in our input message. So what additional services are you requesting? And then let's select the settings tab. We want to choose list formats. In our validation criteria, we want to deselect ignore blank, and you're gonna separate your sources by a comma. So we might put ADS for accessible document service, we could do training, we could put consulting, and each one of them is separated by comma space. Then we could select OK, and now we have a drop-down menu that we can choose from very easily. Next, we're gonna practice locking all of the cells so that the user is able to simply down arrow through the appropriate cells. And it appears that this training, I can't leave it blank. So let's go back in there really quick, do our data validation again, data validation. And then we want to just put nothing else as an option and then select OK. And now we'll be able to change it and put nothing else. Let's go ahead and save that file. And now what we're gonna do is protect the sheet. So I'm going to select Control A. We're going to right click, select Format Cells, and on the Protection tab, I'm going to choose Locked. Then select OK. Now what I wanna do is just select the cells that I expect the user to engage with, these 4 on the right. Let's right click them, select Format Cells, and under Protection, we're gonna deselect the Locked button, and then select OK. Now, this won't take effect until you actually lock the entire workbook or protect the entire workbook. So let's do that now. We're gonna select the Review tab. Then we're gonna select Protect Sheet. And we want select locked and unlocked cells selected, leave all the other ones alone, and I don't wanna put on a password. And then select OK. Now, if you have more than one sheet, you need to actually protect the entire workbook. So let's select Protect Workbook, and I don't want to have a password, and select OK. Then we're going to hit Save, and this is where we would probably put additional information into where they can enter all of their information. And essentially, this will help the user fill out those different form fields within the document. And we could enter our first and last name, hit Enter, and the tab key will actually allow us to move through the different input areas from within this document. So that's how a user with a screen reader would more properly fill out your Excel form. Now, I don't love using Excel forms for accessibility, but that's just my opinion. I would much rather see an application form like this set up in Adobe Acrobat. That concludes today's video on how to make an Excel form accessible. If you want to join my exclusive community with self-paced courses, bi-weekly webinars, and direct access to the accessibility guide, check out the link in the description of this video. And as always, I can be your champion for inclusion. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.